Doing good, thank you.
Good.
How
So more
about you?
changes to Verbling, right? These classes are live again?
Yeah,
Yeah,
live again.
I think yes.
Do you all think that's a good thing?
No, I don't think so.
Why
No.
not? Why do you say that?
Actually, it is good thing, but maybe it is, why it's not good actually because maybe it give us a lot of freedom. We are not alive, okay? But to speak. But the good thing is you watch the recording class, and maybe the other thing is you watch your progress of learning. Maybe if you start learning now and then after maybe few months and see yourself, you recorded the class, you see how much you improved in the class.
Hmm.
And maybe the last thing, I think it's uh, it's like uh, after a while, teacher, and after a long time, okay, after a long time, you will see this classes recorded the class, and you will talk with your children, maybe your child. This
So
is how,
in
yeah, yeah.
in 50 years you'll be showing your grandchildren.
Yeah, yeah, your grandchildren. Yeah, of course. That's what I meant.
All right, I like that. So pros and cons is what I got from that.
Yep. Yep.
Good. All right, and we have some other people joining us. Let's see. Hi again, Rebecca.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing well. Nice to see you. How's it? How are you doing? How are you, Rebecca?
You're asking me. I'm fine, thank you. Good morning.
Good. Good morning. Well,
Yeah.
good afternoon.
You are not in the afternoon.
What's that? It's 12 p.m.
Here,
in
It's in,
Spain.
I'm living in the UK now, so here is 11. It's still morning.
Ah, okay. Still, it's 11 still. Okay. All right. So
Yeah.
good morning is appropriate. I didn't
Yeah.
realize the UK was an hour earlier. I didn't realize that. All right. Good. And hello, Alexander. I like your photo.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Very good, thank you.
Good. I like your picture.
Yes, I
It's
like it
funny.
too.
Okay, and we have Sung-Ming. Hi, Sung-Ming.
Hello, good morning.
Good
Good to see
morning slash afternoon. How are you?
you. I'm doing great. Now is I think it's the evening in
It's
my side.
evening for you?
Yeah,
Yeah. Is it late or is it early evening?
maybe late is 7 p.m.
7 p.m. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. And how has your week been so far, Sung-Ming?
Week. The past weekend.
No, this week.
No, this week. I think it's nothing interesting. Normally I swim in the afternoon. Yeah, and
You
then
swim, you said?
and then come back
Okay.
home to study. Yeah.
hmm Cool. Very cool. Well, it's nice to have you here.
is,
And
is
hi,
it cold there, teacher?
is it cold here?
Yeah.
Yes, it's cold. I think it's not actually that cold, but I'm a cold person in the morning, so or in the
Really?
afternoon.
Why?
I don't know, it's cold in my apartment, so anyway. So I
Okay.
have a big jacket and a scarf on. Um, and Savio?
Hi, teacher.
Hi, how are you?
I'm wonderful.
Um,
It's better now talking to you.
sorry?
It's better now
Better talking to
talking to you.
you. Savio, where are you from?
I'm from Brazil.
From Brazil. Cool.
Yes.
And how long have you been on Verbling?
So I have been verbally maybe 5 months, but before I studied just Spanish, no English.
Okay. And why did you start to study English?
Because I needed to improve more. I think for me that I am Brazilian. I speak Portuguese, and for me it's more easy to learn Spanish. For the otherwise, to learn English is a little difficult for me. For this reason, I have to improve every day. I have to training.
Okay, good. Good. All right, very interesting. Well, it's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
And everyone else, I think I have met at least once before, some of you many times. So great to have you here. Savio, my name is Kate, and I'm an English teacher from the United States. So just a little bit of info about me. And today's class is about the passive voice. The passive voice. So before we sort of get into the details, the grammar, let's talk about your experience using the passive voice. So first, do you know what it is? Have you studied it?
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
And it is good actually. For example, Mr. Mustafa attended the class of the Caitlin teacher class. So we can say the Caitlin teacher class was attended by Mr. Mustafa.
Okay.
Sorry.
Mr. Mustafa. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Exactly. Good. So a good example of the passive voice.
Yeah.
So for those of you who have studied the passive voice before, when do we use the passive voice and why?
When
We
something
use
happened in
the
the past, and sorry.
Sorry, one at a time. I don't know who was speaking first, but
okay. We use the passive voice when you need to emphasize the object.
when you want to emphasize the object. Good.
Yes.
Good. Other reasons? Okay, so passive voice. We use it when we want to focus attention on, as Savio said, on the object, on the person that is affected by the action. So normally, the person who is performing the action, or the agent, is made the subject of the verb, right? It's the subject of the sentence. And this is when we have an active sentence. And the other thing is just made the object. In the passive voice, we reverse that. So Mustafa gave sort of a bizarre example, but it worked, right? He said, Mustafa, can you repeat your example?
Okay. I said like Mr. Mustafa attended the Caitlin teacher class. And it will be like the Caitlin teacher class was attended by Mr. Mustafa.
Yeah, so Mr. Mustafa attended Teacher Caitlin's class. Teacher Caitlin's class was attended by
Mr. Mustafa.
Okay, good. There, when I change the sentence to the passive voice, is it necessary for me to say by Mr. Mustafa?
No, always.
Not always. Okay. Good. Good. Not always. So that's actually, so here I could say Teacher Caitlin's class was attended. Period. Again, a strange sentence, but grammatically that's absolutely fine. And we tend to use this form, you know, when we do not specify the by whom the action is done. We use this when either we don't know or we don't want to emphasize it. Okay, and so we'll look a little bit more in detail about what the passive voice is and when we use it. This was just sort of a quick intro. So let me share a presentation with you on the passive voice. All right, and feel free to stop me at any point with questions. Can you all see this?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's see, Ali, can you read this slide for me?
Of course, I can.
Thank you.
The active and the passive voice. We usually use the active voice in writing and speaking, e.g. The girl kicked the ball. Someone or something, the agent, does something, work, to someone or something else, recipient.
Yeah, the recipient or the object, right, as we said before. Okay, great. So this is the active voice. This is the basic sentence structure in English, and this is what we normally use. But it's not what we always use. Let's look at another example. Sum, can you read this slide?
Oh. The active and the passive voice. Here's another example. The rain, sockets in the pitch. The rain, someone or something, the agent. The socket. Does something work in the pitch to someone or something else? Recipients.
Recipient. Good. Thank you. So here we have another sentence. Is this active or passive?
Active.
Active. Again. Good. And just for those of you who don't know, the verb soaked, what does it mean to soak something?
Get wet.
Wet. Make wet.
To get very wet or to make very wet. Good. And the pitch, another word for pitch?
Kind of bird.
Not quite.
No, land. A kind of land.
Like a field. So you could say a football pitch, a soccer pitch, right? A field. A field. So, good. All right. Good. Okay. And so, how do we change these to passive voice? Rebecca, can you read this slide?
Yeah. The ball was kicked by the girl.
Good. And can you read the top part as well?
Okay. In the passive voice, we change this around so that the recipient has something done to it by the agent.
Good.
Example, the ball was kicked by the girl.
Perfect. Okay. So, so let's look at the changes we've made from this sentence to this sentence. So the first thing we did, we took the object, the ball, and we brought it to the front of the sentence. The ball becomes the subject, even though it's receiving the action. And then we make the verb passive, right? And we do this by adding the verb to be in the appropriate form. Was kicked. Instead of kicked, we have was kicked. And then here, we have an optional prepositional phrase, which is by the girl. And this is the person doing the action. All right. Questions so far? All right, another example, right? We'll just look at this quickly. The pitch was soaked by the rain. So, So here, what is the subject of the sentence?
The
After the change?
pitch.
The pitch. Good, is
Yeah.
the subject. And what is the thing that is doing the action?
Rain.
The rain. Good, Ali. So even though the pitch is the subject, it is not doing the action, right? It's not behaving like a normal subject. It's behaving more like an object. Questions? All right. So take a minute and read these 5 sentences and decide if they are active or passive, and we will talk about them. So just decide if each one is active or passive. I'll give you a minute to do this on your own. Okay, so let's see. The first sentence, is it active or passive?
Passive.
Passive.
Passive. Good. Passive. The music was played by the DJ. Passive. Number 2.
Passive.
Passive.
Passive again. And you know, this is not the most difficult exercise. You can see the pattern, but important to look at the structures, right? The sun was hidden by the clouds. Passive. Number 3, delighted fans streamed onto the pitch.
Active.
What is that?
Active.
Perfect. Good. And number 4.
Active.
Active.
Excellent. Good. And number 5?
Passive.
Passive.
Passive. Okay. Perfect. Good. So, great. So, any questions about this? Okay. Here, as we said before, sometimes in passive sentences, we leave out the agent, the person doing the action. So, in the same example, right, before we said the pitch was soaked by the rain. And instead, we can just say the pitch was soaked, period. So here, we're leaving out the rain. And I want you all to answer this question. Why do you think that the agent might be left out in this example?
What's the meaning of might be left out?
So why would someone choose to leave out this example, to omit this example?
Maybe it's not important. Only important thing, the pitch is soaked or was soaked.
Good. Yeah, that's one very good reason. So number 1, maybe it's not important. Other reasons?
Because we know that information is not really necessary because the sentence makes sense without it.
Good. It's not necessary. It's not necessary. And any other possible reasons? It could just be that we don't know, right? We don't know. In this case, yes, it says the rain, but if we leave out the agent, it might be because we don't know. We walked onto the pitch, we saw that it was soaked, and we're not sure why, right? We're not sure if it rained or if, you know, someone, if there was some event there that did this. we don't know why it happened or how. Okay, so not important, not necessary, we don't know. Some different reasons. Okay, and here, this is another good example, I think. So let's see. Sabio, can you read this slide, please?
Okay. Compare these sentences. One has the agent and the other hasn't. Discuss the difference. I see your car was damaged last night by my friend. I see your car was damaged last night. Far better to leave out the agent if you don't want to be involved.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So here, right, we would never say, I see your car was damaged last night by my friend, right? Maybe we don't want to say who was doing the action. So we purposefully omit who the doer is. So I want you all to create your own passive sentences that would be better without an agent. Okay, so an example like this where you know, knowing the agent might get someone into trouble.
Yeah.
Does anyone have an example?
Yeah, I have example.
Okay, Mustafa.
My reservation to the class was taken.
Perfect example. Good. And why would you not have an agent here?
Because I don't, even I don't know the agent, or I don't want to let you know who's do that.
Excellent. Good. Good. Great. My reservation to the class was taken. So it could be that Ali took your reservation, right? But he's your friend, so you don't want to call him out, right? You don't want to say, my reservation was taken by Ali. You just say, well, my reservation was taken.
Yeah, maybe teacher, it would be better if I said was stolen.
Maybe
Was stolen. Yes.
my seat was stolen in the class.
Your seat was stolen. Good. Good. Any other examples?
I think, teacher, usually, the politicians use the passive voice in their discussing because
That's very true.
Yeah, yes, because they don't know to responsible for something.
Yeah, exactly. Really good. So they don't know or don't want to be responsible for something. Absolutely. Excellent. Good.
Okay.
All right, let's, yes, Ali?
You can say, I see a man was killed last night.
Yes. Okay, because, and why would you be omitting the subject here?
Maybe if you say, I see someone who killed the man, the police take you and ask you a lot of questions. A long process.
Good. So this is a selfish interest. So in your own interest, you don't want to get involved. You don't say any names.
Yeah.
Good. Excellent. All right. Let's move on.
Teacher, sorry,
very good examples.
Yes. Yeah. Just sorry. I have to maybe clarify. Ali said Ali was seen or was. Can you recreate his example?
Yes. So Ali, repeat your example.
With passive voice.
Sorry, I have phone call. Okay.
All right, I'll have him repeat it for you when he comes back, okay?
Okay, teacher.
All right. And so
I think
yeah?
is Ali was seen.
He was
Ali was seen the man killed.
So no, the man who was killed was seen by Ali.
Okay. Yeah.
Got it. Okay, but he said someone was killed last night.
Yeah, I thought I heard I see or something.
Yeah. Good. Okay, got it. And so you'll often find the passive voice in sort of formal texts. So things like reports, things in science, forms that you have to fill out, evaluations, right? And again, it's used because the person doing the action is not needed. So if we look at this example here, a small amount of water was added to the beaker while the mixture was heated using a Bunsen burner. So where do you think this type of sentence comes from? What kind of text might you find this sentence in? Any guesses?
No.
The picture might give you a clue. So you might find this in a science textbook or a science report or chemistry, right? So talking about how an experiment was conducted. Water was added to the beaker while the mixture was heated, right? So this is something very typical of, a science report. And here, why would we use the passive voice in science when we're talking about an experiment?
Why? Sorry, can you say again, please?
Yes. Why would we use the passive voice when talking about an experiment in science?
Because we are not
Something. It happened in the past. I don't know.
It happened in the past. Okay. So that's why we use the past tense. But what about the passive voice?
It's not important who poured the water or added the water.
Exactly. Yeah. We don't care who added the water.
Yeah, and not necessary to say
Good, Ali.
by who.
Perfect. Perfect. Very good. Yeah, it's simply not necessary. It's not important. Here the focus is the experiment and the process, not the people doing the experiment. Okay. And sometimes we use it in stories just for style, right? Just because we think we wanted to describe a person being affected by events. And emphasize the person as the object. So, Ali, can you read this passage, please?
Okay. In the middle of the night, Sebastian was woken by the most hideous scream. Hideous scream. He jerked upright and his eyes sprang open. He was even more terrified by what he saw then. His flesh turned to goose bumps and his very blood curdled. His body was gripped by a paroxysm of horror.
Great, thank you. Okay, and so, can someone tell me which verbs here are in the passive voice, and what effect do you think that has on the story?
Woken.
He was woken up.
Yeah.
And in that first sentence, Ali, why do you think they use the passive voice?
We are talking about someone who affected by an event, maybe.
By
an event or noise, something like that.
Yeah. So he was woken up because there was a scream, but we don't know where the scream came from. It's just this, we don't know who was screaming. We just know that he was woken up. He was the object, as you said. Okay, good. Other instances of the passive voice in this text. Which other verbs are in the passive voice?
Was gripped?
Good. Was gripped. Was gripped.
Gripped.
Yeah. Good, very good. And here,
Terrified.
yeah, he was terrified, right?
Terrified.
And so, yeah, and good. And so all of these verbs, what they have in common is that, what are they emphasizing?
What's his feeling?
Yeah, they're emphasizing how he's feeling and that he's sort of powerless, right? He's very much the object of this mysterious process that's going on. Okay. So I want to do some activities on the passive voice and let you try out making these transformations. Before we do that, are there questions? Okay, good. So let me share my screen with you, and I'm going to give you 20 sentences, and I want you to simply transform them from passive voice to active voice. Okay, so they're in the passive voice. Sorry, they're in the active voice, and I want you to transform them to the passive voice. So what we've been working on until now. And I want you to make sure that you're keeping the verb tenses the same. So remember, to change a sentence from active to passive, you move the object to the front, you put the correct form of to be before the main verb, right? And then you have the option of adding the doer of the action, the by da-da-da, or not. And so decide if you want to add that or not, and we'll sort of talk about why we might choose to include who is doing the action, or why we might decide to leave it out when we talk about the answers. All right, so here are the exercises. I think this should be fairly straightforward, right? It's just the directions are exactly what I said before. Turn the verbs in the following sentences into the passive, but do not change the sentences. So we'll look at the example. Mustafa, can you read the example?
Okay, the example, somebody fetched a chair for Mrs. Dixon.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, a chair was fetched for Mrs. Dixon.
Good, yeah. So this one is a fairly simple example, right? And what transformations did we do to turn this sentence from active to passive?
So a chair, maybe we transform it from object to like subject.
Perfect.
Okay, and then was fished. It's like is plus past participle.
Yeah, so the verb to be in the past plus the participle. Good.
Yeah, and then that's it.
Yeah, good. And then we add, well, for Miss Dixon, but that's the same. Good, Mustafa. And so, so I want you to do the same thing to these 20 sentences. I'll give you, 10 minutes to work on this, more or less. And when you've finished, just let me know. So type something in the Verbling box, finished, done, whatever, so I know how people are doing and if you need more time. And if you have questions while you're working on it, feel free to ask me. Feel free to ask me. And sorry, Mikkel, I didn't even see you come in. I was screen sharing. Mikkel, are you there?
Yes.
Hi,
No problem.
I'm so sorry about that. How are you?
I am here. I want to write no because I don't know if you see.
I didn't see you come in. I'm so sorry about that.
No problem.
Nice to have you here.
Glad to see you again.
So, Nikki.
What's that? Sneaky.
He's sneaky.
He's sneaky.
This is difficult for me, teacher. The passive
Difficult for
voice.
you? The passive voice? Okay, good. So we're getting some practice. Don't worry. It gets easier.
Write in a paper and after write it in the chat room. In the chat, or what
You
do?
don't, so you can just do this on your own, right? You can write it on a paper, on your computer, and we're going to go over the answers together. So you don't have to send me the answers.
Okay, okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay, so are people finished? Still working?
Finish some of them.
Finished
Working.
some? Still working?
Yeah. What?
Okay.
Program, we can start.
What
Yeah.
number are you on, Ali? Ali, what number are you on?
8 or 9.
8 or 9. Okay, I'll give you all a few more minutes. Maybe try to do up to. Has anyone done past number 10?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say everyone try to do up to number 10. If you're on number 10, keep going a little bit, but try to get to number 10. So I'll give you 2 more minutes. Okay, so let's start to go over them, and it's absolutely fine if you're not finished. I know this was a lot, so we'll just go through it together. Can I ask someone to read number 1 and tell me what sentence they wrote in the passive voice?
Okay.
All right, Mustafa?
They used to speak French at this shop. So maybe French is spoken at this shop.
Okay, so that is a good sentence in the passive voice, but it's not quite the perfect transformation. So if you had the sentence, they speak French at this shop, right? That would be the sentence that you did. They speak French at this shop. French is spoken at this shop.
Is
But
used to
here
spoken.
we have sort of we have used to. They used to speak French at this shop. This one is quite tricky. Did anyone get it?
French used to
Good.
be spoken.
Excellent. Yeah, really good, Rebecca. French used to be spoken at this shop. Or I'll just write that. Yeah. And do we need to add by them?
It's not necessary.
It's not necessary, right? It's not necessary because we don't know who they are. Okay, really good. Okay, number 2.
Okay.
All right,
Maybe.
Ali?
Okay. Somebody has stolen my car this morning. My car has been stolen this morning by somebody.
Yeah, and here I would say we can leave out by somebody, right?
Yeah.
Because we use somebody to say we don't know who it was. So an alternative is to just use the passive voice. Good, Ali. All right. Number 3.
Me, for example,
Okay, Mikkel.
they send the bus to the wrong address. In this case, the bus was sent to the wrong address.
Okay. Does everyone agree?
I
What's that?
noise.
There's a lot of
Yeah.
noise.
Yeah.
I think it's Mikhail. Sorry, I'm going to mute you, Mikhail, just because there's a lot of background noise. But feel free to unmute yourself when you want to speak. Does everyone agree?
I think, teacher, maybe the book have been sent to the wrong.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm
The
not sure.
books have been sent.
Yeah.
Other thoughts? Yeah, okay, so the tense was actually correct, right? They sent, that's past tense, so we want to use a form of the verb to be in past tense. And
The
was
books
is that?
were.
Yeah, the books were sent, right? So this is tricky also. Here, since the books are plural, when we make it the subject, we have to remember to use a plural form of the verb to be. The books were sent. Do you see that, Mikhail?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, good.
I understand. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Almost perfect. All right.
No,
Yes.
just a question. What's the difference between when we say have been sent and were sent?
Okay, so good question. So again, you're changing a different sentence into the passive voice. So you're transforming this sentence. They have sent the books to the wrong address, and your sentence was the books have been sent, right?
Right.
So do you see the difference? So it just depends on what the original tense was.
Okay.
So here we're using the present perfect, right? Whereas in the original sentence, we use the simple past.
Mm-hmm.
Clear. Thank you.
Good. Perfect. Number 4. Let's see.
The beer is going to be provided by my friends.
Perfect. The beer is going to be provided by my friend. Right? And here it's optional, as always, to say by my friend. It depends on whether this is important information or not. Okay. Number 5. Do you want to try number 5?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Dish for toast has been brought by a client.
Perfect. Really well done. This one was tricky, right? This one was tricky, but you did that perfectly. And why did you use has been instead of was bought?
Because the original sentence. The original sentence was present perfect.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Good. Exactly. And has been is the present perfect form of the verb to be. Really well done. Okay. Number 6.
I can.
All right, Mustafa.
Okay. Maybe somebody has left this umbrella behind, so it will be like this umbrella has been left behind.
Perfect. Perfect. Very nice. And here, what verb tense did you use, Mustafa?
Because we said like it was like has left, so it would be has been left.
Yeah, good. And what tense is that?
Has past present perfect.
Present perfect. Very nice. Good. Number 7.
Okay, maybe me.
Ali?
They haven't caught the robbers yet. The robbers haven't been caught yet by them.
Yeah. Good. Haven't been caught yet. And here, I would not even put by them. It sounds a bit unnatural. It's grammatically correct, but we almost never use by them. Okay, but otherwise perfect.
But
Yes.
we are talking some people. We know who they are. Yeah.
Mhm.
When
So
we say they haven't.
Yeah. So then I would
Yeah.
just basically with they, with this pronoun, for whatever reason it sounds very unnatural to say this, to say the robbers haven't been caught yet by them. If this were something different, like imagine we had the police, right? The police haven't caught the robbers yet. The robbers haven't been caught yet by the police. That sounds okay. But for some reason, in English, with the pronoun they, using it in the passive voice as the object of the preposition by sounds very unnatural. And so if we wanted to specify them, right, we would simply use the active voice. Does that make sense?
Okay.
And that's not something you would have known otherwise, right? It's just one of those things in English where it doesn't sound good. Okay. All right, good. Number 8.
Ice cold beer are not drunk in England.
Ice cold beer are not drunk in England. Does everyone agree?
No.
Why not?
Weren't drunk.
Ice cold
Isn't
beer. Yeah. Okay, Rebecca is right again. Oh.
No.
Yeah, because here we have they do not drink, right? This is the original sentence. What tense is this in? They don't drink.
Present simple.
Present. Yep.
Simple.
Present simple. So here we have to say is not or isn't drunk, right? Again, the present simple. And why are you using is and not are?
Because ice cold beer. It's not ice cold beers.
Yeah, so you have to be careful, right? So before we had a plural subject, and so we had to have a certain verb form, but now we have a singular subject.
Yeah.
Good, very good.
Yeah. Actually, I tricked by they. When I see they.
Exactly. It's tricky.
Yeah.
It's tricky. It's
Yeah.
tricky. All right, and let's try to answer 9 and 10. Who can do number 9?
Me.
Yes.
9. Okay. Some people always get food stains on their shirts. So that is food stains is always gotten by some people on their shirts.
Yes. Okay, so here, this sentence you have to do.
Plural. Yes.
Yeah, food stains are always. So here it sounds a little bit. This is kind of a tricky one. I would actually change this, and I would say, their shirts are always covered in food stains. So this one, to make it make sense in the passive, you have to change it completely, right? Because
Okay.
so here, don't worry about this one. This one was quite tricky. You would have to sort of change the meaning.
Yeah,
it doesn't
because,
work.
Yeah, because teacher, the object is the shirts.
Exactly, right? So it's difficult because here on their shirts, this is already the object of a preposition. So you have to do some transforming to get it into the passive. So this one is mostly to show you that it's not always an easy transformation, right?
No.
The passive lends itself better to certain sentences than others. Okay, and the last number 10.
Okay, me, for example. No, go ahead, please.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
We drank 5 cups of coffee yesterday. 5 cups of coffee. 5 cups of coffee. Where? Yes. 5 cups of coffee were drank yesterday.
Good.
Thank
We're
you.
drunk yesterday. And so again, this is another instance with we never say by us, right? It sounds very unnatural. So with
Okay.
pronouns, it sounds unnatural. So 5 cups of coffee were drunk yesterday. All right, and so unfortunately we're out of time. Sorry, that exercise was much longer than I expected it to be. If you have any further questions, please feel free to send me a message on Verbling and I'll get back to you. Right? You sometimes have to say tutor request or whatever. Don't worry about that. I'll ignore it. And I'll feel free to help any of your questions
Yeah.
that I didn't address here.
Yeah, actually, teacher,
Alright,
this is
yes.
we always use it a lot actually, and maybe in days, in usual days, but we don't maybe notice it. Maybe
Yeah.
because you are a native speaker, you don't make a mistake. But for us, we are
It's
learners,
tricky.
we have maybe to know to
Exactly.
make it correct one.
Exactly. All right. So thank you all so much. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you soon in class.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
thank you, teacher.
Have a good day.